tomorrow. It is 5 o'clock. So that is something. That's the time I said in the promotion that it would begin. 5 p.m. CST. That is Central Standard Time. And that is the time it is right now. I can't tell you what time it is in different time zones because I live in CST. So that's the time I go by myself. That's my choice. And the event today is promoting a book. And that book is JURASSICHRIST by Michael Allen Rose.
I didn't know we had that books.
That's okay. You don't need a book. I'm the one with the book. Michael Allen Rose should be around.
Yeah, here's my book. Ooh, it's a book.
It's a small book. It's the size of an index card, which is kind of nifty.
They're adorable. They're fat, thick little pocket Bibles, basically. So, like, when you need your religion, you just, whip it out and evangelize.
So, your advice for life is just to whip it out. Interesting.
Yeah, whip it out and evangelize. That's what I do on the subway.
Anybody who that is a crime. Anybody who buys this book from the website, Perpetual Publishing, they also get one of these nifty little autograph things. I assume if this is recording, my face is showing up right now. I see John Baltisberger's face. I don't know why, because he's giggling like a fucking piece of shit. So this is going to be an event of seven folks reading. I'm going to be talking sometimes, trying to nervously come up with things to say on the spot. And reading up top is a guy who is bald and has a facial hair. His name is John Baltisberger. And yeah, man, what's up?
Hey, I'm gonna be honest with you. I was very confused as to why you contacted the Jew to take part in your special Jesus Egg Day thing. Yeah. But I'm here. I wore my Easter Bunny shirt, so I figured I'll get in the spirit, be a part of things, and be a good sport.
Okay,
for your fucking egg thing.
Do you were you offended at all?
Extreme. I'm very easily offended.
Yeah, that's something I didn't know about you.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's fine. I mean, how did you react? Like, did you go and punch anything? Do you punch things?
I don't punch things. I'm very on top of being very angry, I'm also very afraid.
Yeah.
And at any time, maybe things might attack me or fall on me. So I'm very nervous about that. In fact, the only reason I agreed to do this is I was afraid you would attack me if I said no.
Well, I haven't seen you in a long time because of reasons that I'm not going to get into. But sure. I'm glad to see you now, even though I'm half blind at the moment because I made the decision to put on fake glasses when I'm desperately in need of actual glasses. So
I was going to ask if we need to refer to you as Stephen Kink for this.
Stephen Kink is the name I have gone by. So if anyone has messaged me anything like, "Hey, you fucked something up on Zoom. If you just click this and fix it," I can't see the message. So just stop messaging me. I don't know what you're saying at all. I'm assuming this is fine. Hello, Cody. You will dress nicely, but it's not your turn to read yet. So I'm going back to John. John, what do you have to read for us today?
So I actually, all joking aside, you sent a thing saying hey, write something funny, and I froze because I've never written anything funny. The biggest feedback I get from anyone ever is "Hey man, I thought your book was gonna be funny." Nah, man, nah. So I tried to write. So it made me laugh. I laugh while writing it. My wife said it's not funny, but another guy said it is funny. So we'll see what happens. Yeah. Go with the flow. It's fine.
With the blow. Okay. Now, before you go on and read, I should say to anyone listening, if anyone is listening, I can't tell if I've hit anything correctly, but if you're listening, everybody reading is doing a tiny little Easter egg thing in each fulfillment. So get a piece of paper down, a pen, a pencil, what have you, and take notes and keep track of every reference to something I'm not going to say. You're just going to have to pay attention, and maybe you can crack the code. Crack, that's a pun. If you knew what I was referencing, but you don't. So only I'm laughing on the inside. And we will give prizes away if you can tell us in the chat at the end all the things that you said, that we said, that you called on. I have no script in front of me. I hope you can tell that. John, please read something.
Alexander sat near the hill watching the commotion. Generally speaking, when someone wanted their BCE Faces of Death fix, they went to one of the local arenas and watched some lions eat a dude. Or a couple of ridiculously sexy bearded guys get oiled up before taking each other to Pound and also Stab Town. But today's execution was a triple feature. 3 men, 1 hill, Friday, Friday, Friday. Of course, that was bullshit. See, Alexander's grandpa had told him of when the Romans had been crucifying thousands of people at a time, or when they got super creative with how they nailed them to stuff. This was just 3 dudes, all nailed upright, but still, it's better than sitting around waiting for someone to invent the TV or a good sport, like ice hockey. Alexander popped a handful of legumes in his mouth. Legumes suck, but microwave pizza, Hot Pockets, and all beef American hot dogs were still about 2,000 years from being invented, so beans would do for now. Gaius Secundus Elotius collapsed next to Alexander in the grass, dropping his shield and spear before pulling a sweaty and gross-looking panini from under his arm. The smell of offal mixed with egg was disgusting. But when you're from a society that thought a communal vomitorium is a keen idea, maybe olfactory senses aren't your selling point. Hey, Alexander offered. Hey, Gaius responded around a mouthful of cheap organ meat. He gestured with the sandwich. You mad, bro? What? Why would I be mad? Because, Gaius made a show of swallowing his gross sandwich before wiping his mouth off on the back of his bracer. That's your king up there. What? Alexander narrowed his eyes to try to get a better look at the actual half-naked men who were waiting from their places on the crucifixes. No, that's Jerry. Jerry's a dick. He owes me like $7. No, not Jerry, the other guy, Gaius said, taking another bite of his gross sandwich. Alexander wished he could stab Gaius with his own spear for eating with his mouth open and letting that rank meat stink permeate the air. There are 3 guys up there, Gaius. You're going to need to be a bit more specific about who's my king. The middle one, Jesse, James, Jershka? Oh, shit. Yeah, Jesus. No, dude. That guy's a fucking lunatic. He goes around calling himself the son of God and seems to think we have to do what he says or else God will hurt us. I don't know. He made my mom a shelf once. She ended up using it for firewood because he can't build worth shit. Alexander watched for a few moments as Jesus ranted and raved, right up until a soldier walked up and stabbed him in the side with a spear to shut him up. So, you guys are crucifying people for being crazy? No. He's aiming executed for being a menace and inciting revolts. There are revolts? Well, no, Gaius admitted. But you can't just call yourself king. And he has followers. There's like 12 men who follow him around and do whatever he says. Alexander looked back at the hill. He has good abs. I'd probably do what he says too, especially if I got to hang out with 10 dudes built like that. Gaius stared. Honestly, I think he just overcharged Pontius for a chair or something. He glanced hungrily at Alexander. You know, you can tell me what you want to do if you wanna. Alexander was already tying his tunic out of the way. No kissing. I hate the smell of that shit you ate. Alexander spit on his hand and lubed up his spear, readying it for when Gaius was in position so he could serve up his own helping of kosher pork. You know, Jesus hates this, he grunted as he pushed in. My breath? Gaius moaned, trying to follow Alexander's logic, while also taking Alexander's sword to the hilt. No, dude's fucking. Jesus' followers have a real stick up their asses about things being up other people's asses. Why? Gaius quivered as he took every inch Alexander offered him. I don't know, just kind of a prick, I guess. He waved, hoping that he could catch the so-called king's attention. It would serve the guy right for the last thing he sees to be a Jew nailing one of the Romans who nailed him. He hoped he could also catch Jerry's eyes, too. Flip him the bird. A nice big fuck you while fucking was the perfect fucking day. Just as he was about to give up, Jesus turned his weird blue eyes towards them. Those dumb queer eyes widened in disgust as he saw a man loving the feel of another man's cut meat bashing against his prostate, and he wailed, My father, why have you forsaken me? At that exact moment, Alexander came, filling Gaius with the Holy Spirit. Alexander fell back spent, his heart beating so hard and so fast that it felt like the earth was quaking. It was a Good Friday.
Wow, that was great. The bad thing about doing events like this on Zoom.
Can I actually interrupt you, Max? I think the bad thing about doing events like this on Zoom is I can now see my aunt watching me read this this erotic Jesus story. Hi, Jamie.
Right into the show, Jamie, if you thought that was hot. Now, John, the bad thing about doing these events on Zoom is that there's no like actual audience in front of you. So maybe everybody was clapping, but you just have a quiet room. But you can see me looking like an ass.
I'm looking at the chat and everyone's just flipping me the bird. So I feel like it went good.
Yeah, that's good too. I'm glad.
You can use the clap reaction. For those of you who see the reactions bar at the bottom, you can use the clapping reaction.
You know a lot about Zoom, Michael. You should have hosted this.
Well,
There's a clapping reaction. Oh yeah.
there we go. Look at all those claps.
It's happening. Also, I love that you said aunt. Like everyone else says aunt, and I feel like I'm the only one who says aunt.
Well, I want everyone to know she's not an insect. Very important. Look, she is a human being. She's lovely. And she loves the sound of stories about people porking to Jesus's crucifixion, I guess. I don't know.
And I live in Seattle.
It does.
Max, you're not supposed to unmute my family. That is dirty play.
I clicked nothing. She did it. I think she hacked it.
We have the power to unmute ourselves.
Shit.
John, what do you have to promote before I kick you off of this?
Yeah, I have a book called War of Dictates out now. It's from Death's Head Press. It is pretty blasphemous in and of itself. Verse, novella, all about Jewish mythology and folklore.
Badass. Hell yeah. Let's move on now. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you for having me. And Michael, excellent book. Thank you for putting it on the world.
I actually published it, but okay. Next up is a guy whose name begins with A. It's not Andy. It's Andrew. Andrew Hilbert. Hello. How's it going, man?
Doing great, man. How's everyone doing?
Okay. Can you talk loud?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
No. Speak up.
What? Wait, can anyone hear me?
Yeah. It's fine.
Okay.
What's up with that T-shirt, man?
It's my website, 5gkilledgod.com.
How much did that cost to make?
It cost me $12 a year.
The T-shirt?
I saved a little bit because I asked them not to broadcast over 5G waves.
What's up with that background?
Oh, I just got hired to write some Paw Patrol.
What's that?
So the pandemic, it's been hold on, I gotta eat an egg real quick. The pandemic kind of changed a lot about me. I've been watching a lot of Paw Patrol.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just gonna get into it, man.
Loosen up.
I've been watching a lot. What? I've been watching a lot of Paw
Loosen up.
Patrol. Okay. First, it was out of a morbid curiosity because of the propaganda, the state-funded media was forcing our youth's brains. But then I began to see it as something much more than just simple brainwashing. It's deep. It's very good stuff. My daughter's gonna be happy to find out I'm a staff writer now, and I just want to. This is my first episode that got accepted, so I'm not gonna read it because I don't want to ruin it for all the Paw Patrol posse out there, Paw Nation.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna set it up for y'all. Okay. So Zach, he's the human leader of these animal slaves. He's like a precocious 12-year-old, and he was promised a blank check on his 13th birthday, and his 13th birthday is 365 days away. That's where we start my episode. The timeline shifts a little here and there, but once this episode gets produced, it'll be canon that Zach is a 12 and the comedian Sinbad is holding a check for him.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. Then we have Spot, the lovable fire truck dog, his live-in girlfriend Smackers, and his bitch Petunia. The First of all, I just want to warn everybody, this episode deals with mortality. And so it's a bit of a warning for people who are afraid of those kind of things or scared or, whatever. So anyways, Smackers lives a life of leisure, constantly sniffing her own asshole by a pool. Petunia works at the subway next to the fire station. Zeke, he's a garbage collector dog, and he sniffs Tetra Packs out of recycle bins. They look like paper, but they're a sophisticated mix of wax, metals, and plastic and are thus non-recyclable. Zeke finds the homeowners who do this and educates them. Whiskers, she's a board-certified internal medicine doc dog. She's underutilized in the show because of years of institutional misogyny at Nickelodeon Jr. She's not that important in my episode. But the star of this episode is Hank the cop dog. Okay? So Zach rounds up Spot, Smackers, Petunia, and Zeke and tells them they have to go see their friend Whiskers down at the vet. You see Hank the cop dog is going to be put down that day. And Whiskers arranged for all of them to tell him how good a boy he's been. So the camera will pan around the room and we'll see all these dogs in quiet contemplation. Never before had they been confronted with mortality, let alone the mortality of a cop dog, the only kind of dog that keeps society completely safe from harm. Does this mean he'll never give me a treat for planting drugs in and around the property of suspects on my garbage route? Zeke asks. Zach sobs and pets Zeke. There'll be another cop dog who will give you treats for stuff like that. Wow. He'll never hold his hand over his gun when he tells me he doesn't have $5 for a $5 footlong at Subway? And the way he stared at me menacingly while he tapped his nightstick on the sneeze guard when he asked for extra black olives? That was the kind of customer tick you never forget. Petunia whimpers. But Zach can tell Petunia's trying to throw shade on an otherwise stellar reputation of Hank. He was fucking perfect, Petunia. He was a cop dog, Zach says. The only kind of dog that keeps society together in perfect harmony. A cop dog. Spot looks around at everyone individually, tears in his eyes, and says, people are going to try to comfort us and tell us death is just the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. Those people have never read a fucking book. There's always a last chapter. Series end too. And we all know what happens to Tony Soprano when the screen turns black. Maybe he dies immediately. Maybe he dies later. But the truth is he fucking dies. There's a vast nothingness in the great beyond. It was a good ending. Maybe Jesus died for human sins. No offense, Zach. But he sure as shit didn't comport with dogs. I'm pretty sure he even said some nasty stuff about us with his hands all scabbed up and all the stray dogs of Jerusalem constantly licking his wounds. The point is, there is no Christ dog for us. There is no joyful barking of the dog saints drowning out the wailing and gnashing of teeth of all the pit bulls burning in hell. But let me tell you, and you listen to me good, okay? If there was a heaven and there was never a movie called All Dogs Go to Heaven, because they don't, because there is no heaven for dogs, I'm pretty sure God would make an exception for Hank the cop dog. Now let's go over to Whiskers' murder table and watch the life leave his eyes. So yeah, they let me, they said it was pretty good spec script. They're going to produce it.
Was that the end?
Yeah, that's the end. I mean, the life leaves his eye. I mean, they're going to, they're going to animate life leaving his eyes, and they're all going to, it's going to fade to black.
That's pretty cool. So what are you going to read today?
No, I wasn't going to read anything. I haven't been writing at all. I've been watching a lot of Paw Patrol.
Nice. I just wanted to apologize for anyone listening for the obvious cop propaganda. That was pretty fucked up.
Well, I mean, cop dogs are the only kind of dog that keeps society together in perfect harmony.
I think, I mean, as someone said in the chat, a cop is still a cop.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, dogs are pretty cool, but when they become cops, I mean, they become bastards.
Are you trying to get me to say something bad about cops, man?
Yeah.
You trying to get me to say something bad about cops? It's not going to happen.
That type of show.
It's not going to happen.
What's 5G?
It's some kind of wave that makes your brain all stupid.
Have you been around a lot of it lately?
I got a couple towers by my house.
Yeah. I also want to remind everybody listening that you will screaming this script in a house, and you have a family. You have wife, kids, dogs, cats.
Yeah, I locked them up in their room.
Well, don't.
I told them not to disturb me today.
That's
my day.
Okay. I think it's time to.
Hey, someone's got who celebrates some hoo-ha with a book.
What are you promoting today, Andrea?
I'm promoting my website, 5gkillgod.com. You can also go to popefight.com, or you can go to Perpetual Motion Machine Publishing and buy the only thing I've ever written, Invasion of the Weirdos.
Someone in the chat has noticed you have a cop mustache. What's going on with that?
Oh, yeah. So Paw Patrol, it's weird that you asked about that, because Paw Patrol, it's written by cops and cop wannabes. So I'm working on my figure to become a cop.
Okay, well, thanks, Andrew. You can meet yourself now.
Thank you.
You're gone. Your reading is done. Next up, I have Brian Asman coming on to the show. If I could find him, Brian. Hi.
Hey, how's it going, Max? How's it going, everyone?
It's going okay. Before we continue, I will just remind everybody, if you will not actually doing a reading, and this goes to everybody besides Brian right now, please mute your video and audio, and be polite. I don't know. You don't have to be polite. You can say shit in the chat. You can talk shit to Brian. He's used to it. He's often attacked on the streets by homeless people. He recently told me.
Yeah, be a dick to me. I'm not a fucking coward. I can take it. No, I can't. Please be nice. Please be nice.
Are you in a closet right now? What's happening?
Yeah, I'm in a small room that's slightly bigger than a closet. There is a closet in the room, though. Do you guys want me to draw I don't know if there's a whiteboard. I can draw a quick layout of my surroundings just so everyone can
Did you just
understand what's going on?
No, I don't even know if I'm recording this, Brian. Don't ask me those technical questions.
All right.
So
right.
Are you in Vegas right now, or did you come back?
I just got back from Vegas. I flew to Vegas for a couple days to cough on people and let people spit in my mouth, and now I'm back. So back in San Diego, where I belong, where the weather doesn't suck balls, and it's great.
Just some advice to those watching this. You don't need to go to Vegas to have someone spit in your mouth. Any local McDonald's, it's on the secret menu. If you say, "Oh, one mouth spit," they will spit in your mouth. They don't advertise that, but that is a secret menu option at McDonald's, any McDonald's. What are you reading today, Brian?
It's like the Golden Arches version of the 4x4. It's great. I highly recommend it.
I don't know what that means, Brian.
Yeah, it's a California thing. You wouldn't understand, Stefan.
Oh,
so
okay.
Anyway, I'm not actually doing a reading, but I am doing a nunchuck demonstration for you guys because my new book, Nunchuck City, is coming out on April 20th. It's up for pre-order right now. You can get it at my website, brianasmanbooks.com/merch, or you can go on Amazon if you want the ebook edition. That's Nunchuck City, coming out April 20th. Also, buy Michael Allen Rose's book, JURASSICHRIST, because we're here for him right now.
It's not his time yet. It's not his time yet.
If you can only buy one book, well, definitely get mine. But if you can buy two, also get Michael's.
I have
All right, here.
Wait. Do not begin yet. If you die right now, should we have an address to tell the fucking ambulance to go to?
No. Just forget you ever knew me.
Okay. So
yeah.
If you will remaining in this Zoom call, folks, you will agreeing to a blood oath to remain in secret about the death of Brian Asman. Okay, continue, Brian.
What happens in Nunchuck City stays in Nunchuck City. That concludes my nunchuck demonstration. I think I'm just going to read from the book instead. Chapter 1. It's called Kick It. Skip Baxter, the most dangerous man in Turbo City, gently guided his cherry red 89 Vet into the strip mall parking lot, paying more attention to the incredibly photogenic and, more importantly, lethal as fuck hands resting on the steering wheel. He'd been down to the police station no less than 3 times to get them registered as deadly weapons, but never got past the desk sergeant, a tall woman with a laugh like a twat-tickled donkey. Hell, once he even showed up at a gun buyback in the parking lot of the long-shuttered Niederman Toys building, even brought his own bone saw, but all they did was laugh at him. Bunch of pansies with their Glocks and their nightsticks and their radios to call for backup, Skip thought. I'm Skip Baxter, and I'm my own goddamn backup. Skip eased into the reserve space with Sensei emblazoned on the asphalt in front of the Hawk Dragon Martial Arts Dojo, the one he founded 2 years before. And he got out. The scent of baking conchas from the panaderia next door thick in the air. Idly, one of his deadly weapons wandered down to the thick roll of fat straining the elastic waistband of his tracksuit. He gazed at the open sign on the panaderia door for a hot second before remembering he was supposed to be doing that stupid keto diet. Marcia swore by it. She dropped 7 pounds. His complexion was already going south, a bright sheen of grease covering his face, clogging his pores. But he had to do something. Middle age was a real motherfucker. At least he still has hair. Thick, black, lustrous, cut in an exaggerated mullet hanging down between his shoulder blades. Held back with a hachimika and embellished with the Hawk Dragon logo. A hawk with dragon claws and shit, breathing fire. Totally badass. Just like Skip himself. Skip fumbled through his keyring until he found the front door key, nodding his head in time to the soft ranchero music leaking out of the bakery. He shoved the key in the lock and turned it, but the key didn't want to go. He turned it back the other way, locking the door. Skip frowned. He must have forgotten to lock up the night before. No surprise, that one little wiener kid, what was his name, like Robert or Mark maybe? He failed to stand the requisite 10 fucking feet back while Skip was demonstrating a roundhouse kick. What followed was a shitload of crying, heavily frowned upon at Hawk Dragon Martial Arts, and the realization that little Robert or Mark's nose looked slightly different than when he trotted through the front door at the beginning of class. Specifically, it looked like a nose back then. Skip figured the kid was lucky he got caught with a roundhouse kick instead of a karate chop. A knife hand strike from one of Baxter's deadly weapons might have sheared the nose clean off his face, and then he could have gone as Skeletor for Halloween, and maybe he'd at least win a costume contest, because little What's-His-Nuts definitely wasn't winning any karate contest anytime soon. It only takes 3 pounds of pressure to break a human nose, was something Skip was very fond of saying. He'd even worked it into his vows when him and Marcia got married, and Skip didn't understand a man who'd cry over a measly 3 pounds of pressure, even an 8-year-old one. Then the ambulance came, and Robert or Mark's dad showed up and beat the shit out of Skip. When you're an 8th degree black belt, it's really not fair to trot out advanced karate techniques against a civilian, even a construction worker who outweighs you by like 50 pounds. No, sometimes you've got to take your lumps, and you better believe Skip Baxter didn't cry like a little bitch about it. Granted, he didn't remember everything that happened between the moment Robert or Mark's dad shoved a greasy finger in his face and when he woke up in the parking lot with a pair of black eyes and a splitting headache several hours later, but Skip was damn sure he didn't cry. Given the fortitude he'd shown in the face of adversity, he figured he could be forgiven his failure to lock the fucking door. Skip pushed the door open and flipped the lights on, hoping nothing had been stolen. Everything looked to be in its proper place, from the white wooden cubbies where students put their shoes to the sea of black mats extending to the back wall. The glass case full of trophies for tournaments that technically never happened stood intact to one side of the door, and no gang graffiti defaced the Hawk Dragon mural on the wall. No, everything looked just like Skip had left it, right down to the unfamiliar man standing in the middle of the room. Wait, what? Mr. Baxter, the man said, crossing his arms. Weirdly long appendages like a chimp or a monkey. He was tall, too, over 6 feet and thin, wearing a black silk kimono and Ray-Ban sunglasses. His hair was bleached blonde, gelled and spiked, with the sort of elaborate fade Skip sometimes saw when he taught a charity self-defense class for at-risk youth. Weirdly, his voice was absurdly high, the kind of sound you get if you kicked Alvin, Simon, or Theodore in the nuts. That set Skip at ease. Anybody with a voice that high had to be a pussy. Still, his presence in the dojo was a mystery, and Skip hated mysteries. They made him feel stupid. I'm Skip Baxter, Skip said, since nothing else was really coming to him. The man slowly reached up, pulled his Ray-Bans off, and regarded Skip with one pale blue eye and one black one. My name, or rather the name bestowed upon me, is Kundarai Saru. Do you know Japanese, Mr. Baxter? Skip shrugged. Domo arigato? Saru smiled, revealing very expensive veneers. I'm sorry, that doesn't really apply here, Mr. Baxter. No, my name means glorious warrior. A hard-earned name. Many years, many battles. Many enemies vanquished in my quest. A quest that has now brought me to you. To me? Tell me, Mr. Baxter, you fancy yourself a sensei? Sure enough, Skip said, gained his composure back. He was a sensei, and this was his dojo. He hadn't been paying attention to everything this Kundi Racy Roo fellow was saying. In fact, most of it went right over his head, but he was Skip fucking Baxter, the most dangerous man in Turbo City. And even though technically this dojo was in an unincorporated area called Agave Gardens, they were only like a quarter mile outside the Turbo City city limits, and Skip figured maybe he was the most dangerous man here too. Aside from Mark or Robert's dad, that is. Saru nodded once. Very good. And who was your master? Skip scoffed. I'm my own master. He supposed if you wanted to get technical about it, Michael Dudikoff was his master since he watched American Ninja about 300 times, including twice on his wedding night, much to Marcia's chagrin. But he doubted this dipshit with the frosted tips and the lady clothes knew who Michael Dudikoff was. Self-taught. Interesting. What's this about anyway? I got a class. Your class can wait, Mr. Baxter. I have traveled a long way across oceans, lakes, rivers, other assorted bodies of water to be here today to find my destiny. Cool story. What's that got to do with me? Saru pointed to the case of trophies. Every time I arrive in a new city, I seek out the greatest martial arts masters in town, and I kick their asses. Skip flexed his deadly weapons. I'd love to accommodate you, champ, but I think I'm coming down with something. So, prepare to defend yourself. Saru dropped back into a fighting stance, his hands gracefully arcing through the air. Skip pulled his phone out. Like I said, I'm busy, so I'd suggest you beat feet before I call the hiya! Saru lashed out with a kick and sent Skip's phone flying. It bounced off the wall, landed on a mat. Ow, Skip said, shaking one of his deadly weapons. He sucked on his thumb, tasted blood. Not cool, I just got that. Worry about me, not your phone, Saru circled, light on his feet like a moth fluttering around the dojo. Skip backed away towards the door. Okay, man, I'm out. Whoop! That sure didn't feel like a door. Skip slowly turned, found himself face to mask with some dude dressed up as a ninja. Dark blue pajamas, demon face mask, eyes tight with malice. Oh, shit! Oh, shit is right, Mr. Baxter. Daisuke! The ninja shoved him. Skip stumbled backwards, spun around, nearly knocked the display case over. His jaw hit the floor. He was surrounded by ninjas, 5, 10 more. They lined the walls, still as statues, some holding bows, katanas, sai. What do you call a group of ninjas, Skip thought? A pack? A swarm? A fuckload. Come, Mr. Baxter, Saru beckoned to him. Show me your hawk dragon style. Skip looked from the ninjas to Saru, down at his deadly weapons, asked himself a very important question. What would Michael Dudikoff do? Probably not piss himself. Skip Baxter ignored the wet warmth in his crotch and curled his deadly weapons into fists. They were shaking, undoubtedly from all the chi coursing through his body. Skip let out the patented Hawk Dragon martial arts war cry, a fierce caca, followed by a long whoosh, representing a dragon's fiery breath, of course, and rushed Saru. He didn't even see the first blow, let alone the last. And that's the first chapter in Nunchuck City, available now. Buy that by Jurassic Christ. Also, egg.
So that was a great reading you just did. I've read Nunchuck City. It's great. I also happen to know you have developed a theme song to the book, and I'm hoping before you end this, you will do one last Nunchuck demo, and as you fuck around with those, you sing the theme song to Nunchuck City.
Oh yeah, I can do that. Yeah, no problem. Sorry, I think that egg was a little old. All right, ready. Okay, this is the theme song that I wrote. This is all original music. It has literally nothing to do with Guns N' Roses, but don't tell Axl Rose about this, or like Duff McKagan, or like Steven Adler, or God, don't tell Slash. All right, ready? Take me down to the Nunchuck City where the nunchucks chuck and my feet get kicky. Take me home, yeah, yeah. Take me down to the Nunchuck City where the nunchucks chuck and my feet get kicky. Take me home, yeah, yeah. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. That was beautiful.
Egg.
Egg. Hey, he has an egg, folks.
Egg.
Go buy Nunchuck City. Go buy some eggs. Go buy Jurassic Christ. Eat the egg, Brian. No, don't. You might die. Don't. You would die. Don't do it. Don't. Mute the video. I don't know what to do.
Bye. Thank you.
Goodbye. Next up, we have a man with a fake name. His name is Angel Slater. It's not his real name. I've looked it up.
I don't think your real name's Max Booth.
It's not. It's Maxwell.
Oh.
No.
I was gonna say you explicitly told me it wasn't Maxwell.
John, your time is done. You've already read. Shut up. Hello, man. You have a nice professional jacket on. What's going on with that jacket?
I do. Well, you know, I'm not going to sit out here in a fucking denim vest smashing eggs on my head. I'm a professional author.
Yeah. So, speaking of the egghead man, you and him recently co-edited an anthology together. Do you want to tell me about that?
No.
Cool. So
no, I can tell you about it. We wrote a book. Well, we didn't write a book. We edited a book called Boinking Bizarro, which has, I'm going to say, most people that are involved in this call today are in this anthology. They're all porn parodies of famous works of literary renown.
Yeah, those are facts. I Googled as you were talking, and nothing's untrue. So that's great. What are you reading today?
I'm actually not reading anything.
Good.
What I have is a motivational speech, a presentation, if you will.
Okay, I can.
Okay.
I'll allow it. Go ahead.
Yeah. As you can see, I have a very high-tech setup here. Give me a second. Here we are. Can we see this? All right. You know, I've done a lot of interviews over the years, and the question I'm asked most often is how I got into writing. You know, people want to know if there's a secret or any tips or tricks that I could share. You know, as you can see, I'm the author of many books of various colors. And that wasn't always the case, you know. At one point, I was just a normal person, just like you. You know, I was 200 pounds overweight and not a dime to my name. And I was covered in dozens of oozing pus-filled boils. And like you, I had a dream. I wanted to create an important and lasting work of literary merit. For the longest time, I struggled with this. You know, I would start books and abandon them, and I'd submit my manuscript to the sound of crickets, and I'd spend hour after hour lancing my horrible boils instead of putting in the time and effort it took to hone my craft. It was disheartening, to say the least, but I stuck with it. And with great determination, I eventually achieved my dream. I wrote the great American novel. It's called Impossible James, and it's on sale now. But that doesn't answer the question, of course. How? How does one create an important and lasting work of literary merit? What are books even made out of? Where do I begin? Well, fear not, because I'm here to help. And I guarantee you, by the end of this webinar, you too will have become a famous author just like me. And all you need to do is follow these 5 easy steps. Step 1.
The statue was more pronounced when we first had it.
Read. I'm sure you've all heard the phrase, reading is fundamental before. Well, I came up with that. So anytime you say it, you owe me money. The thing is, the brain's a muscle, but, you know, not like a real muscle. It's It's actually, you know what? The brain is not like a muscle at all. The brain's more like a computer, or maybe like a car engine. Or you know what? Okay, the brain is like a bouncy house, and your ideas are like the children jumping around inside of it. And every time you read a book, it's like you're on the phone with the guy who runs the bouncy house company, and you're trying to negotiate a good price for a few hours rental this upcoming Sunday because it's your kid's 6th birthday. And with the divorce and everything, it's been a really rough year for everyone. And you just want to do something special to show them you still love them. The point I'm trying to make here is, if you want to be a good writer, you need to be a good reader first. But what do I mean when I say reading is fundamental? Now, we all know most scholastic reading programs are funded by the liberal leftist elite in an attempt to brainwash our impressionable youth. Let me ask you, do you want your kids to know where the wild things are? There are underage children walking around right now that think it's okay that everybody poops. I'm a heterosexual. I don't poop. Here's a fact for you. In America today, 1 in 5 children is 20%. If the commies had their way, that number would already be doubled. I'm not trying to alarm anybody, but you should probably be teaching your kids to read before George Soros does. That's all I'm saying. So now that we understand why reading is fundamental, TM, it's time to move on to the next step. Get a jacket with elbow pads. As you can see, I'm wearing mine. I never take this jacket off. I sleep with it on. I shower with it on. I make love to it while wearing it. Owning a jacket with elbow pads is essential when it comes to letting everyone around you know how smart you are. Ideally, what you're going for with your jacket is to be able to strut into a room and have everyone turn their head and say, wow, now there's a guy who knows the capital of North Dakota. One time, I went to the supermarket to buy some eggs, and I forgot to take my jacket off before going in the store. The moment I walked through the front door, they automatically made me the manager. I worked at that supermarket for 25 years. I even met my ex-wife there, the cheating bitch. Clearly, you can see what a good jacket will do for you. Step 3. Die. Name one writer who's still alive. I bet you can't. That's because all famous writers are dead. But that's not saying you can go ahead and just die any way you want. You can't be out there like, oh no, my kidneys are failing. I need a transplant. Boring. If you want to create a lasting work of literary merit, the manner in which you die plays a big part in how you solidify your legend. Take, for instance, Edgar Allan Poe, who died a hero while attempting to save a bunch of orphans from a burning building. Or Jane Austen, who met her demise when her parachute failed to open while recreationally skydiving. Or consider for a moment a more contemporary author like J.K. Rowling, who isn't actually dead, but probably should be. Dying is an important part of the writing process. Of course, being dead is going to make writing a book difficult. So in order to physically get this done, you're going to actually move on to step 4, which is reincarnate. Now, if you're looking for the fast track to writerly fame, your best bet is to reincarnate into one of Stephen King's sons. I realize that the ship might have sailed on this. So considering that, his children are probably born, I don't know, 4 decades ago, it might make more sense for you to reincarnate into something a little easier, like, I don't know, one of his dogs or something. Just imagine this for a second, right? Being the world's first novel writing dog. There's your gimmick right there. See, I would read any book written by any dog, especially considering most dogs aren't even known for their intellectual pursuits. I mean, we've all seen those Air Bud movies, right? We've seen him play basketball. We've seen him play football, volleyball, baseball, soccer. It's about time that golden retriever stopped acting like a fucking jock and started using his goddamn brain for once. I've read The Elements of Style by Strunk and White, and nowhere in it does it say a dog can't win the Nobel Prize in Literature. If it's not against the real rule book, the Nobel Committee will have to allow it. That's how Air Bud won the championship game in 7th inning fetch, and that's how you're going to loophole yourself into literary superstardom. And that brings us to the final step. Perform satanic ritual. No one has ever made any art of substance without selling their soul to the devil. This is the unspoken and irrefutable truth about the entertainment industry. We are all devil worshippers. All of us. But selling your soul to Satan doesn't have to be a complicated and painful affair. In fact, it couldn't be easier. First, you're just going to need some virgin blood. And I happen to have some right here for this very occasion. Keep in mind, the virgin blood can't be your own, you loser, okay? I got this blood from my neighbor. He's got prom coming up in a few weeks, so I probably nicked it just in time. I suggest always keeping a fresh stock of virgin blood in the fridge, but never more than 4 ounces, so you can remain within TSA guidelines in case you have to fly with it. So now that you have your blood, all you have to do is find yourself a pentagram. Oh, look, there's one right there. And then you have to recite these words. Abe de Dembala, donnez-moi vos perfor les vous s'en souple, mortisme lu de vocator de mu vochete. Give me the power, I beg of you. Okay, so some of you might recognize that incantation as the same one Chucky used in those Child's Play films, but don't worry because it just works. It works just as well for these purposes too. Well, okay, it works about 60% of the time, but those are decent odds. At this point, if your soul hasn't accidentally been casted to the nearest doll, then congratulations, you're now a professional writer. Go out there and live your dreams, kids. And thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Wow. How much did you spend buying all this crafts stuff?
Like, I don't know, like $200.
Does that include the jacket price? Well, no.
Oh, no, shit. Okay, $204.
Nice. I mean, that's a good jacket. I'm glad you're getting use out of it in any way you can. And I don't know, man. Maybe like Thomas Pynchon is a dog. We don't know that.
Yeah, J.D. Salinger. He's probably a dog.
He's dead too. So he fits what you said.
Wait, J.D. Salinger's dead?
Yeah, didn't he stick his head in an oven? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Who am I? Wikipedia? No. I'm just a guy who published a book called Jurassichrist. I'm telling folks to go buy it and go buy the books you wrote. What did you write? Did you write Jurassichrist as well? I don't know.
No, but I wrote a bunch of other ones. You could just Google me to find them. Here's some.
Which one? Millie fuck kill them all. Like pick them. Which one are you gonna fuck? Which one are you gonna kill?
Well, let's see. I would fuck He Digs a Hole because there's a hole in it. No brainer. Yeah. I'd kill I Will Rot Without You because it's pretty much already dead. And I'd probably marry Impossible James. Because
why is that?
I don't know. He's the only one that's like a human.
All right. It's green as well. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's one of the many colors my books come in.
I've noticed. It's like a rainbow, man. Anyway, well,
yeah, I
think we're done. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna remove the pin. Yeah, and let's see if I pop up. Yeah. Hey, I'm popping up now. So before we continue anything, I just want to show off some of the prizes you can win. If I don't remember what I said you had to do to win a prize. Oh, keep track of the references the folks give as they read. I don't even know the references, so I hope you get them. Maybe if you say funny things in the chat, I don't know. You come up with a way to win something, and I will give you prizes. How about that? You could win some of... Well, this isn't going to milk out. Okay, you can win some fucking things you can put on your vehicle if you're rich enough to drive. We have those. What else do we have? We have a cup. Nothing's in it. You would have to buy liquid and put the stuff in it. What else? I have a bag of prizes. Pens. You like pens? We got pens. We have these. You take them off. You stick them on things. Yeah, so those are some of the prizes I have in this bag that I collected like 5 minutes before we began doing this, because we're promoting a book, and that book is called JURASSICHRIST. Look at this! Look at this! Yeah, you like that? Guess what? One of those could belong to you if you bought it. You probably already did. Let's be honest. Who hasn't bought JURASSICHRIST? It's a tiny book. You can put it inside of a pocket and walk around and look like you have a book in your pocket, and people could say, "Hey, is that a book you have in your pocket? Or you just happy to see me?" And you can say, "It's obviously a book. No penis is book shaped. That is strange. That's a dumb question. Don't ask me that." Now, before we move on to the readings, I'm going to read something to you folks as soon as I find it on my fucking webpage. So I like eggs a lot. I've always liked eggs, but lately I've liked eggs mostly because I came across a tweet on the website called twiddle.com, and it is probably a haunted tweet at this point, and I think about it every day, and I just want you to know about the tweet as well. I did not write the tweet. I'm not going to say who read it because I don't like giving credit to the people who write original content. So the tweet is this. Hubby likes shoving soft-boiled eggs up my vagina. And then in parentheses, she says, I can hold 3. And then she continues, and then I squat down and lay the eggs like a hen, and hubby eats them up, coated with my juices. So that's a tweet I read once, and I think about it often. And to celebrate the anniversary of me reading this tweet, I don't know if it is, but let's just say it is. I am going to put 3 eggs inside of me now. I can, like the person who wrote this tweet, I can also hold 3. So I don't know what's going to happen. I might vomit right now, but this is Michael's big day. So hi, Michael. So this is 1 egg. Nope. I can only hold 1 egg, it looks like. Moving on now for my spotlight. It's time to bring on Jessica McHugh as soon as I find Jessica's name. Aha!
Why would you do that to me? Also, like, oh my god, you can only take 1? What? Amateur.
I feel like Max needs to try one more time before we move
on.
Really
that was like only really 1. Really?
You want me to try again? I throw them in a trash can now.
Every day.
I put them in a trash can. I'm not going to.
Trash eggs are the best eggs, Max.
There's a lot of people in the chat right now that want to see you do it one more time. I'm just saying.
All right, let me find them, I guess.
I mean, we've already seen new men. It's time to see old men.
Oh, man.
I can't find them.
These trash eggs, they've disappeared.
Oh, no. I'm not going to do this.
Oh, no.
I mean, that would be nuts to do that again.
I mean, it's just, but it is nice to set up like something grosser than American Psycho.
Well, I was trying to set the mood, right? And yeah. I think I have accomplished that.
That was way grosser.
I'll apologize. I'm just gonna go ahead and interview you now. What's up, Jessica?
Hey, what's up, man? Thank you so much for having me, and thank you to Michael Allen Rose for having me with him to celebrate this big day. Yay! It's awesome. Thank you so much.
Michael. What do you have to read today? I mean, you tweeted about it at one point. It was pretty gross what I saw.
It was gross, me and a bustier? Thanks.
I meant the text. It had some type of joke about a book called American Psycho.
Yeah. It is the only book that has made me vomit.
Nice. So this is a recurring theme with this episode.
Yeah. No. So hopefully you won't vomit from this, but
so before we continue, this just in, a woman just walked into the bedroom and handed me 3 eggs. So I could put these in my mouth. Yeah.
What are those? Quail eggs?
Look, a round of applause for that woman.
So I now have 3 eggs in my mouth, but I did not ask if they were edible, so I don't know what to do with them.
What kinds of eggs were they? They seem small.
She might have handed me 3 rocks. I think
they're snake eggs. They look like snake eggs.
Yeah.
Eggs?
Can you eat a snake egg?
I mean, you just did.
I'm sure.
Well, I can chew them, so that's good. Okay, so I'm going to mute my mic and chew these snake eggs. Please read.
All right, so I'm reading, I'll be reading a selection from my story, American Sly Ho, from Boinking Bizarro, which is edited by Danger Slater and Brian Asman. I certainly wish I could have read you the intro because it's my favorite jam, but I'm just going to read you as much as I can. Okay. Oh my God. And I'm sorry for my Patrick Bateman voice. It'll just come out naturally, and I'm so sorry. Okay. The rats are quiet tonight, thank fuck. Oh, they're loud. They're screaming in hunger, almost the perfect pitch for my starvation. They're starving for my purposes. I can still hear them after closing the mudroom door, so I select the perfect record to both drown them out and set the mood for the evening. I've just started the album spinning when the doorbell rings. I let her ring it a few more times and knock twice before I wrap 10 fingers around 2 knobs. Who is it? Post-apocalyptic mates? The woman says. Rebecca. Rebecca? That's not a doomsday name. Weird judgment, but okay. Maybe this is a bad idea, I say, stroking my cock. Maybe I should ask for a refund. No. Her sigh of defeat makes my body ripple with pleasure. You can call me whatever you want, Mr. Sandler. Zipping my pants, I open the door to a woman who looks like Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman, except with hundreds of animal teeth glued to her shiny black bodysuit, many of which frame her exposed vulva. Each labium is pierced with 3 gem-encrusted hoops I could liberate with a tug. And though the bullwhip wound around her left leg doesn't look functional, I'm eager to investigate. I grin, and she flinches, glancing at Google Images on her phone. You're not Adam Sandler. Now who's making weird judgments? I gesture for her to enter and study each step she takes to my Barcelona chair. I can always tell how a woman fucks by the way she walks. This one's got a wide gait that implies flexibility, but she might just be drunk. Her catsuit looks cheaper and coarser up close, but her hands glide over her body like she's swathed in charmeuse. She sits delicately, like she won't give the chair her full weight until I allow it, which I like a lot. Her face is nice enough. It's round, soft. Looks like her flesh would melt right off the bone with the appropriate amount of care. I could take or leave her hair. Despite her attempt at hiding it by wearing her hair down, I can tell one side of her head is shaved. Nothing appeals to a real man less than a woman who chooses to look masculine. But I have to admit, there's something about the peekaboo that excites me. Especially as I envision ones that venture deeper than her scalp, flash a skull, gander of gray matter, a glimpse of bashed-in brain. It's fine if you're not Adam Sandler, you know? I don't care. You're still cute. I'm more than cute, sweetheart. I'm a lady killer. She giggles, removing her black vinyl gloves. Oh, you're really cute. In the silence of a track change, I mimic her giggle, which sends a shockwave of confusion through her expression. Is something wrong? She asks. Bend over and we'll find out. She's frozen for a few moments before remembering I'm paying her, and she pulls a tight smile as she stands, placing her hands on the back of the Barcelona and tilts her hips upward. Wider, I say, and she adjusts her stance, causing her pierced lips to part, glistening slightly. I approach, my cock battling the zipper of my slim-fit Valentino trousers. The cutout crotch in her catsuit rips easy, giving me full access to her slick insides. And as canines tumble across the floor, I explore her holes one finger at a time. She's receptive at first, but when the track changes again and she finally recognizes the voices on the record, her asshole tightens against my thumb. Is this the Muppets? Technically, yes, I say, probing her ass. But while the characters on Sesame Street are part of Jim Henson's Muppet universe, and both factions appear side by side in projects like Muppet Family Christmas, the residents of Sesame Street established their own vibe and complex storylines outside the campier, more mature tone of the Muppet Show, as shown in this 1975 album, Bert and Ernie Sing Along. The song we're listening to right now, A Really Good Feeling, performed by the legendary Carol Spinney, who voiced Big Bird for most of the character's history, is almost mockingly lighthearted, considering the premise of the appropriately aggravated Bert attempting to take a bath, while Ernie and the rest of the barrio stage a sing-along in his bathroom. With my thumb wriggling in her anus, and 3 fingers making a sloppy mess of her cunt, she wails and thrashes on the back of the chair. She comes with a groan, and I tell her to face me. After cleaning my hands with a Versace moist towelette, I grab her by the chin and shove her into the chair. It nearly topples, and while she's still gripping her heart in shock, I push the chair against the back wall. Her head bumps the wall too, but she shakes it off and spreads her legs as I free my cock. This album especially pushed characters like Bert and Ernie out of the Muppet sphere by giving them the freedom to make mistakes. We, as the audience, are given the gift of realizing these characters can traumatize each other, as well as be traumatized by friends and neighbors. Clearly shown in the cast medley, what's the name of that song? For fuck's sake, Rebecca, are you ever gonna start sucking my cock? She apologizes and licks my shaft from base to tip. When Oscar the Grouch inexplicably shows up at Bert and Ernie's apartment, you think Bert might have someone on his side. But after singing a song about how he hates sing-alongs, Oscar leaves as mysteriously as he arrived, and Bert is left once more to endure being naked in a cold bath surrounded by so-called friends. And it is, without a doubt, Sesame Street's most sadistic album. I grab her head and thrust my cock further down her throat, causing her to gag and drool on herself. The true tragedy is the loss of Linda, I say as Rebecca pulls away, coughing violently. She's such a visual force, but she gets completely erased on the albums. They don't even mention her. While Rebecca is gasping for breath, I grab her ankles and yank them into the air, pulling her closer and ramming my cock into her bejeweled cunt. They try to make up with it with Gordon and Susan's hand in hand, I grunt as I pound her. You do forget about it for a while because their voices blend wonderfully, but you inevitably return to that same question. Where the fuck is Linda? She grunts as I slam my hips faster, and the friction against the Barcelona's leather challenges the strength of her cheap catsuit. The top layer wears away, sending bits of black latex and animal teeth flying in all directions, and pinholes soon form in the cut-rate fabric. Bob's song, Morningtown Ride, is a triumph, however. Originally sung by my Malvina, I'm sorry, I'm like speeding through. Malvina Reynolds in 1957. It's an epic meditation on the loneliness we all feel, knowingly or not, in those moments before we fall asleep, and the fear we all share that we might never wake up, captured beautifully in just 2 minutes and 36 seconds. As the pinholes widen, her exposed flesh reddens and ripens and bloodies. She hasn't noticed yet, but I tear the fake bullwhip, which is little more than a braided scarf, off her leg and wrap it around her eyes so she can't see the blood. Pulling out, I flip her over and smack her nearly bare ass as hard as I can. She wails and bucks against me as I enter her again. But it also parallels the dumbing down of a society that no longer values education. So sorry. As well as our growing disregard for each other's well-being. For example, Bob inserts several Sesame Street characters into the song's lyrics, but he neglects to mention Bert, whose bath he's interrupting to sing a dirge about a death train. I spit on her asshole, remove a Mont Blanc pen from my breast pocket, and start screwing it into her. She tears off the blindfold and looks back at me in shock. Don't worry, baby. Donald Trump had this exact pen up his ass in 1983, and things turned out pretty well for him. This is where she draws the line. She tells me to stop and wriggles to get away, so I punch her in the hip and she falls to her side with a whimper. I grab her by the throat. She tries to smack me in the face, but I catch her arm and force it behind her so hard it judders, but doesn't dislocate, and it doesn't break. Her bones slide, even swim a bit in her skin before she collapses to the floor like every girl before her. I collect the pen, remove my shirt and pants, and stand over her erect as she whines like one of Adam Sandler's bulldog bitches. Oh, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. Pigs in a tree, don't ever sit on a woodpecker's knee. She cradles her arms as she stands, preparing to scream, but I stab the Mont Blanc between her lips before she can make a sound. Again and again, I slice her mouth and gums and chip one of her front teeth. She pulls away, moaning and spitting blood, and my hand flies again, aiming for her eye, but I miss by a mile. She encourages my faulty trajectory by pulling my arm, causing me to slam my knee on my Alanda Prisma coffee table and knocking my Fabergé egg to the floor. Growling, I whirl around and grab her hair. She darts away. It tears from her scalp like new grass, a fresh peekaboo, but she doesn't stop running. Much good it'll do her when she realizes how many locks she has to undo. I whip the clump of hair across the room and pursue her with deliberate strides as she clambers towards the door. Passing the kitchen, I grab a rolling pin. I'd hoped to use it to destroy her insides before bashing in her skull, but most of life is improvisation anyway, so I'm willing to roll with the punches. Freeze, motherfucker. When I enter the foyer, the bitch isn't wrestling with the locks. She's holding some kind of bizarre pistol, a bulbous silver thing aimed at me. Careful, baby. You're going to shoot off one of your tits. You'd do worse to them, she says. Sounds like a good night. I got some friends in the back who'd agree with me. I swing the rolling pin. She squeezes the trigger, and everything goes dark.
Wow, that was incredible. Be honest, you had that already written before you even got the Boinking Bizarro invite, right? That was just something you had done.
I practiced that like 3 times and never laughed. It's all y'all made me laugh, like just prime me for laughing.
I think the laughing made it even more entertaining, though. It was a lot of fun.
Well, thank you so much. I never thought I would get to be Patrick Bateman and Catwoman. Yay.
What is this book you want to promote? The Blackout book, right?
Yeah.
Tell us about this.
Accident of Life. It's nominated for a Stoker Award. I'm really excited. It was my first collection of poetry, first collection of Blackout poetry. It's from Apocrypha. And I got another one coming out a little later this year that's all inspired by The Secret Garden, and it's called The Birds Other Animals Shouldn't Charm.
Hell yeah, that's exciting. Yeah. I think anyone listening, watching, I guess, I'm too used to doing a podcast. Anyone watching this should go pick it up. It's a good book. It's fun. You did invent blackout poetry, right? You invented it?
Yeah, I 100% invented it in like 2019.
That was a long time ago.
Not at all, was a thing that's been around for decades.
I don't think it has been. Yeah, some people say that, but they fail with the deep state. They'll lie.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
Right. Well, thank you for reading that really entertaining.
Slap it on the Wikipedia.
Wikipedia can't be edited. That's one thing I do know about it. It's a fact. It's just a fact. Someone wrote it once, and now it can't be changed.
Cool. I'm on. I'm good.
All right. Well, thank you. That was great. Let's move on to the next one. Okay. Now, fucking every time I have to do this, I have to click buttons, and I can't see. Hey, it's me again. Hello. This is a event. If you'll just now tuning in to promote Jurassic Christ, a book by Michael Allen Rose that keeps vanishing on the fucking screen. That's one cool thing about this book. If you hold it a certain way, it just vanishes. So like if you're trying to sneak it into like a police station, cops won't see it. It's a vanishing book. It's great. But Michael isn't reading just this moment. It is not his turn, so I guess he's going to have to be quiet and not say anything because it's someone else's turn to do a reading, and that person is the guy I just pinned, Cody Goodfellow. Hello, Cody.
Good evening, sinners.
Do you regret doing this yet?
Oh yeah, no, I regret everything, but fortunately, I got a gift from the Easter Bunny. Jesus.
Do you want to explain what that was?
Oh, special Easter eggs.
Nice. Egg juice.
Right. Yeah, no, they I think they were fertilized, but I put them in a paint shaker this morning. So
folks don't know this, but like Cody Goodfellow is infamous for coming to readings and just drinking on stage without saying anything, and then he just leaves. It's one of the main things we all love about Cody.
It's why I'm still a legend in Salt Lake City. It's true.
Yeah.
Well, I came today to show off my new Morai pattern jacket. How you like me now? So I'm going to be reading today from my latest book. Oh no, you disabled screen sharing. I was going to show the cover.
Shit.
Because it does not exist in MeatSpace. I have a new novella called The Flying Nun, None, which is coming out May 25th from Perpetual Motion Publishing. And it concerns a young, saintly, but agnostic woman who, in order to find answers to the troubling questions the world has posed, has decided to enter a convent. And while the convent itself offers very little in the way of spiritual consolation, on her first night sleeping in her cell, she undergoes a miraculous spontaneous orgasm and an out-of-body experience in which she departs from the physical realm and goes searching the universe to find a sign of God. And having found herself alone in an empty, meaningless universe devoid of any grand design or heaven or hell, she resolves to use her newfound power to demand answers from the earthly powers who have been misrepresenting themselves as spiritual guides. And I don't know if you folks know this, but right now we're in an unprecedented period, if you're a Catholic, or just like to laugh at them, because there's two popes, which I don't think has happened since the Avignon papacy, when the French decided, fuck it, we're getting our own pope. But Benedict the Arnold is retired, but still hasn't been assassinated yet. And so it's to him first that Gala goes visiting. This is chapter 6. A sickly old man lay in an 18-hole golf course of a bed under an oxygen tent, swaddled in white eiderdown duvets, propped up on pillows stuffed with feathers of birds that went extinct for the privilege of bearing the heavy head of the Shadow Pope. The horrid, bloated apparition showed no interest in the soccer match playing on the jumbo flat screen or the tray of pureed veal, foie gras, and caviar in his lap, but betrayed some signs of life when an acolyte brought a cup of tea. Clawing itself out of the sumptuous bedding with tiny stick bundle hands, he reached for the cup with a manifest greed, sunken eyes eagerly taking in the angelic beauty of the young priest's face, then his figure as he hurried away. It was quiet here, often too quiet, and the boys knew better than to come inside his tent, which was for their protection as much as for his own health. But he relished the unique pinnacle of power he'd eked out for himself. Without all the superfluous duties of ring-kissing, goodwill tours, and empty public proclamations, he had found himself holding all the cards he'd ever hungered for. From this former monastery on the edge of the Vatican, he controlled the flow of money and secrets, the dispensation of patronage, and he had been mostly free to wallow in his earthly appetites. "Don't drink it," someone whispered in his ear. "They're poisoning you." The old man fumbled the teacup and it spilled on the spotless duvet cover. "Wer hast das gesagt?" he rasped. He looked up and saw the burning words on the wall. "Mene, mene, tekel ufarsen." The terrible portent etched itself on his eyes, even when he covered them with his hands. But then a blast of furnace heat shriveled the oxygen tent away and raised blisters on his flesh. A deafening voice shattered the teacup in his hand. "Not feeling so infallible now, are we?" He moved like a wet sack of broken glass, but he moved, scuttling across the bed to cling to the headboard, a Bernini bas-relief of Porphyry depicting Jesus casting the money changers out of the temple. His wildly searching eyes swept the room for the intruder. If he concentrated, he could almost see a grainy phantasm of a tall, thin female form looming at the foot of his bed, with her hands planted on her immodest hips and wings. "So correct me if I'm wrong," she said, "but women can't be trusted because an old book says one of us tempted man to eat a fruit that made him stop being a dumb animal, but you cross-dressing buzzkills are in charge because God forced himself on a married virgin and knocked her up to redeem us for being exactly as shitty as he made us? That just kind of blows my mind, honestly." The Shadow Pope was not so shaken up as she'd expected by her entrance. He was quite prepared to lecture even angels about God's divine mysteries, and after boldly fluffing his own pillow and taking a bracing sip of sparkling mineral oil, he embarked upon his defense of the Mother Church as the bride of Christ and the infallible instrument of his divine might. "If you will allow me, I won't," she roared in a piercing tone that cracked his flat screen just before Italy scored a winning goal to clinch the European Cup. "I'm not here to fuck with you. I just want to see the phone." "The what?" "The one you used to talk to God. There is one, right? Otherwise, you're just howling on the wind with the rest of us, hearing what you want to hear. Ever read Julian Jaynes? He said that early humans had a split brain, so thoughts from the right hemisphere were like totally alien voices, and everybody thought it was God's talking to them. He's been discredited, I think, but you guys go around worshiping your own pricks, and you're not even allowed to use them. Anyway, where is my head? What's it look like? Is it like a gold princess phone? Or a red blinking phone like Batman? And when he calls, you go down fireman poles and come out in papal battle gear ready for action? But you guys aren't about action, are you? Because when it rings, do you even answer it? Or is it just down in the cellar with all the winged dildos and squicky statues from Pompeii and the proof that everything Jesus said was stolen from a hermetic mushroom cult on the Dead Sea, and the thought of it ringing makes you shit your 900 thread count sheets? The Shadow Pope was still struggling to offer a well-constructed retort to this profane rhetorical onslaught when Gala, sauntering around the chamber, stopped at a particularly ostentatious piece of decor. "What the fuck is this? See, this is what I'm talking about. What the fuck is this shit?" The Shadow Pope explained that she was looking at a gift from the Ottoman Empire circa 1750. A ship in a bottle large enough to fit a human body, with hull of gold, exquisite rigging of braided silver and platinum, and mother of pearl sails. See, you know those teeming millions of hungry, poor, miserable people who hang on your every word about how they'll get everything they've got coming to them in heaven? It seems like you could feed and clothe and house the fuck out of all those poor suckers if you just had a damn garage sale once in a while. This wasn't turning out anything like the Shadow Pope had always expected a heavenly visitation would go down. He was beginning to suspect he was entertaining a succubus, so he picked up his very ordinary cordless phone and tried to recall which of the speed dial buttons would summon an exorcist. I'm not getting through to you, am I? Gala summoned patience, but what was the point? She waved her hand and the room vanished. The Shadow Pope found himself standing on a golden poop deck beneath masts rigged with gleaming threads and scalloped opalescent sails. Pretty neat, huh? Gala strolled around the Shadow Pope as he stared, flabbergasted, waiting for him to realize where they were. But you didn't know what was inside that tacky ship in a bottle, did you? Inside the cargo hold is a whole mess of ships in bottles, each about the size of an Old English 840 ouncer. And inside the holds of those ships, there are even more bottles, each with a ship about the size of a June bug. That's where we are right now, on a ship in a bottle, in a ship in a bottle, in a ship in a bottle. Think about that for a second. All those artisans working to make this ridiculous thing, going blind, fitting the tiniest ships with tiny sails and shit, getting their hands chopped off for the slightest mistake, putting those ships in tiny bottles, then those bottles in little ships, then those ships in bottles, all to make this ugly ass thing you never bothered to even look at. It's a pretty apt metaphor for your whole operation. So I got to figure, if you're special enough to have God's ear, if you're more than just the hot boss of an international pedophile ring, you'll get sprung out of here faster than I can say amen. The Shadow Pope decided he'd had quite enough of this, and realizing he was still holding the phone, he began stabbing buttons, but he could not get a signal, and the disrespectful angel was gone, and his stomach began to grumble, and he racked his brains for the secret prayer of extreme urgency that he was instructed in when he first became Pope. But for the life of him, he couldn't remember the words.
Yes, that was great. And everyone's clapping and saying, "Yeah, great job, Cody." But I've muted them all, so we don't know what they're saying.
I'm feeling it.
Yeah, it's a good vibe bringing. That was awesome.
Thanks, y'all.
Do you think when you promote this book, when we both promote this book, Going On Mold, are we going to always have to say the Flying Nun, None?
Wait, not if we get matching T-shirts. Matching blinking T-shirts, but that covers vlogs. But no, it is kind of. I look forward to it becoming popular enough that it'll become a tiresome joke.
Yeah.
That who do they think they are, being really pretentious, and then that's a problem that you want to have. But yeah, it's just say the Flying Nun. People will say, "Oh, you're bringing back that old show." Why, yes, we are. It's the Sally Field porn parody that the world deserves.
I'm gonna get that into production ASAP.
Right. Yeah, we can just credit it to Cordwainer Bird.
I should also say this might be the only book that I've published that began as almost a joke. Do you want to explain how and why you wrote this?
It's not the first one of mine, but go ahead.
Oh, please, you go right ahead. I was just.
Oh, no. I was just. Well, you vanished. Did you guys see that? You guys saw that? He leaned back and he completely fucking vanished. There were just arms.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God.
That's some astral shit, man.
It's like some redneck Renee Magritte shit up in here.
I don't know what that means.
So, the book originated because Matthew Revere, as he often does, was just kind of sharing his daily output of Photoshop collages, which he sweats like a Christian sweats hate, to paraphrase H.L. Mencken. And he solicited ideas for titles, and people were just coming up with kicking out titles, and I just threw up, the Flying Nun, None, yuck, and he happened to like it, and a half hour later, Max reached out to me and said, "I've secured the rights to this piece of art, and I want you to write the book." Yeah, and he said it like the way that the guy who put King Kong on stage in Radio City Music Hall probably talks all the time. I wrote the thing, and Betty Rocksteady did some fantastic, amazing illustrations for it, and it's coming out next month, and I like to think it's going to give people solace in these troubled times. That's what I think.
If this doesn't do it, what would?
Right. Well, yeah, folks everywhere are looking for answers, and the Flying Nuns got them.
All right. And I already included a link in the chat box, but you can go buy that book at perpetualpublishing.com. You get a signed signature thing from not only Cody, but also Betty. Both of them will be signing things, and we need to mail you some so you can sign them. That's going to be something I do after this Zoom call ends.
Right. And in honor of Michael Allen Rose's release of his fantastic book, JURASSICHRIST, I'll sign it too. I can afford to be magnanimous.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Congratulations, Michael. It's a fantastic looking book, man.
Great. Okay.
Thanks, Cody.
Happy rebirthday, zombie Jesus.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
No, if Cody wants to sign my books, I always tell people I'm willing to sign not only my books, but anyone else's books, or babies or whatever you put in front of me, really. So I'm totally down with that.
It's how I got his power of attorney.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I could set foot back in the state of Illinois, I'd own you, man.
I know. I'm very lucky. Thanks to the court in that one time they made the right decision for me.
You're lucky. You're lucky that I've got the new tracking device that you can't cut off without cutting off your foot, because I'm 99% there, fella.
Yeah, I know. I'm real tired of this thing beeping.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Lots of soap.
It's crying out for my tracking device. That's what's happening.
Alrighty.
They miss each other.
Thank you, Cody, for reading The Flying Nun, N-O-N-E.
Thanks, everybody.
Now, Michael, I'm not gonna pin you just yet.
Okay.
I'm gonna pin myself. Hello. Hi.
Do it.
Because this is a book that we're promoting, Jurassic Christ. Look how tiny it is. Now, I've been told by folks off screen I need to keep holding it up like this so people can see it. So, haha, see, I'm promoting the book. But also, after I tried and failed to put 3 eggs into my mouth, I went back and I looked at the chat and I saw how disappointed everybody was. So as Jessica was reading, I went through the trash and I found the 3 eggs and I washed them off. So I'm going to try again. And who knows, maybe this time I'll do it. But just if you're just now tuning in to explain why I'm trying to eat 3 eggs, I will tell you it's because of a tweet I saw one time that I'm going to read again because I think it's really amusing to read it. So the tweet goes, no, I did not write this tweet. Someone who I'm not going to credit wrote the tweet. Hubby likes shoving soft boiled eggs up my vagina. In parentheses, she says, I can hold 3. And then I squat down and lay the eggs like a hen, and hubby will eat them coated with my juices. Okay, so that is the tweet. And I have 3 eggs in a, what do you call this, a cup? I don't know. They've been in my mouth once, kind of, and then on the ground, and then in a trash can, but I've washed them off briefly. I don't want to do this, but
I speak for everyone in saying that the greatest sin today was you repeating that tweet twice.
This event is not done yet.
Please continue.
Thank you. So I'm gonna do 3. I feel like I would have no luck if I chew them and then put like the next one in, but I think that's cheating. I think they need to be intact and whole and undamaged, which makes my job not really easy. Now I should say I say my job, but I chose to do this. No one asked me to. I'm hosting the event. This was a decision I made because it made me laugh. Okay.
Let's go, Max.
You got this, bro.
Let's go, Max. Let's go.
You can hold them all in.
You can do this.
Don't die on us.
I've never
It's like
respected
a Ripley's
you more,
Believe
Max.
It or Not in the cue balls. You got this.
I did 3. So if you had this Zoom call on and you weren't watching, but you were listening, that seems odd. You should have been watching because you missed it.
Max, you sacrificed more than Jesus.
Wow.
Who is
Wow.
talking right
Yeah.
now? But thank you. Was that God talking?
That was the voice of God.
That's pretty awesome, man. Thanks, God.
You sacrificed more than Jesus.
Anyway, now I'm going
Kind
to pin
God.
somebody else, and his name is Michael Allen Rose. And hi, Michael Allen Rose.
Hi, Max.
What's up, man?
You know, just hanging out.
So let me ask
Chilling.
you, what do you now? I'm the one who hosted this event and kind of put everything together. Do you regret putting me in charge of this now?
You know, I had faith, Max. I think as you know, having edited Jurassic Christ, faith is a very important central tenet in my life.
Yeah.
I'm just real non-discerning about what I put my faith in.
Uh-huh.
I mean, like, it might be like a really nice hat, or like if I see like a dog that I like on the street, I'll put my faith in that. So in this case, I just put my faith in you, and you know, it's fine. Whatever happens from there.
I think it's gone pretty well, man. I mean, I had 3 eggs in my mouth. That was cool.
That's the first time I've ever seen somebody at one of my book releases put 3 eggs in their mouth. So that was a first for me.
Not the last time either, baby.
I hope not.
So let's talk about Jurassic Christ before you
Sure.
read it. Explain what it is.
So Jurassic Christ is the story of the second coming of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. Only being an extra-spatial deity, he's not subject to the rules of time and space like your typical mortal is. So when he tries to come back for his second coming, he misses the target, so to speak, and ends up in the Jurassic period, lost and fighting dinosaurs and trying to figure out what the hell happened. And the problem is he wants to get back home to try it again. But to get back home, he needs somebody to nail him to a cross and, you know, to be crucified so he can go back home. It's kind of like Quantum Leap, but with Jesus and crucifixions. So, you know, dinosaurs don't have thumbs. They can't use hammers. He's in a lot of trouble. But very quickly, he finds out that dinosaurs were not what we thought they were. And somebody might be manipulating the evolutionary sort of history of the Earth to, let's say, change the story a little bit. So he unravels a cosmic conspiracy, and there's all sorts of theological implications and awesome dinosaurs. How's that for a summary?
Pretty good, man. I mean, it's not how I would have said it, but I mean, that's okay.
What would you have said?
I would have probably brought up like dinosaur eggs, made some type of pun. I maybe would have sang it, but that's okay.
Oh, yeah. No, that could, yeah. In fact, if you want to sing it right now, that's fine.
I don't sing. But we did talk recently. You said you were going to make a Jurassic Christ theme song.
Oh.
So did you want to
crap.
sing that now?
Oh, you're holding me to that. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, of course. I've been working on it night and day. Jesus met a tardigrade on the day of his resurrection. He talked to that little tiny dude because he couldn't get an erection. That's because he wasn't mortal at the time, but soon he came back into his body, and just like mine, it was made of flesh. And he was the Jurassic Christ.
That was beautiful. Thank you.
Thanks. I've been, like I said, I've been working on that for days in my studio.
Studio.
Yeah.
Rich boy.
Yeah, man. You know, night and day.
So I've seen some rumors online that you might be reading from Jurassic Christ now. Is that true?
I might be. Yeah, it's
Wow.
true. In fact, I wanted to open with a couple of quick religious readings because I know this is a religious ceremony. You know, we're all skipping Easter for this, and I wouldn't want anyone's soul to go to hell. So
listen, I don't eat 3 eggs any day.
yeah, well, exactly. It's the Feast of 3 Eggs, and also Easter. So I wanted to open with a little a little reading from brother Robert Zombie, who spoke of Jesus and said, Jesus lived his life in a cheap motel on the edge of Route 66. Yeah. He lived a dark and a twisted life, and he came right back just to do it again. Chugga chugga. I also have another reading prepared, Max. This one is one of my own. Several years ago, I put out another book called Embry that also dealt with chickens and eggs and things. And there's the Apostles' Creed that I thought would be a good introduction to the to that most holy of mindsets we need to get in. So everyone, of course, follow along with me because you all know this. I believe in the great egg, the yolk almighty, creator of heaven and earth. I believe in Humpty Dumpty, the chosen egg, who was fertilized by the chicken of mystery, born of the dairy isle, suffered under the forces of gravity, was scrambled, cracked, and could not be put back together again. On the third day, someone smelled a stinky smell, and we knew then that leftovers were a bad idea. But when the world cracks and cooks in the hot sun, he will come to judge the eggs and the fowl. I believe in the egg Illuminati, the holy Easter egg, the 11 secret herbs and spices, the forgiveness of foul deeds, that brunch is the best meal of all meals, and low cholesterol everlasting. Amen. All right, so if everyone is in the proper religious mindset now, would you say so, Max? Are you feeling holy?
Yeah, I'm pretty
Okay,
fucking
good.
hot, man. Do it.
Good. All right, good. All right, one moment. There. All right, I feel fully equipped. So this is a reading. By the way, I found a bookmark from when I was a child. Jesus Loves You. I thought that was an appropriate bookmark for this. This is going to be a reading from book 3 of JURASSICHRIST. This is when, so far in the story, just to bring you up to speed, Jesus has sort of found himself at this point in the Jurassic period. He's sort of trying to figure out what's going on. He's already had some run-ins with various dinosaurs. And suddenly sort of has a realization that being, basically a magical being that can create anything he wants, he can create some tools, weapons, things to help him survive the jungle. So at this point in the novel, he's just created a handheld radar device for himself. A large green dot stood at the center of the circular display. Emerging from it, a long green line spiraled around the screen, searching for any moving thing that wasn't in possession of the little device. A carpenter by trade, JC hoped his creation skills were up to par. Electronics hadn't even been in the mind's eye of humankind during his last visit, so he was improvising based on some observations he'd made in Earth's 1980s. It was nice to be able to conjure up pretty much anything he could imagine, but of course it did get tiring. So he tried to hit the mark on the first try, lest he find himself underpowered during an ambush. The little green box beeped a friendly beep. Beep. What's that? JC asked, tapping the device on its side quizzically. Beep, beep. 2 dots had appeared on the far right side of the circle. Beep, beep, beep. Now there were 3. In fact, with each pass of the line, there appeared to be more tiny green dots blinking into existence. 4, 5, 6. The number kept growing. Then JC noted with alarm that a similar line of dots was growing from the opposite side of the screen as well. He was surrounded by dots. Quickly, he crept backward toward the ferns from which he'd come, but as he tried to lift the leaves to step into the shadows and hide, they resisted. He pulled and pushed, trying to climb through a gap, but the plants seemed almost to purposely tighten their ranks, and everywhere he tried to jam in an arm, an impenetrable wall knitted itself together. Lo, it is easier to thread a camel through the eye of a needle than to part these damn leaves. With a mighty burst of strength, JC tore a branch from one of the larger ferns. Immediately, other surrounding plants rustled to fill in the gap. Apparently, this border was entrance only, not an exit. The device was now emitting a steady beep, 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 beep. They aren't coming out of the walls! They aren't coming out of the walls! He observed conga lines of what appeared to be floating dinosaurs heading his direction from both sides. Nobody had seen him yet, and his eyes rolled wildly around, looking for some place to hide. Perhaps he could conjure up a disguise, but he knew he was unable to change his size or appearance supernaturally. There was just no way he'd pass for a dinosaur. He was just too human. He would definitely look out of place, and becoming a dinosaur snack was a far cry from the death by crucifixion that would get him off this planet and back to the ethereal realm. Rocks? Too small. Trees? Not cooperative. He thought back to his training, most of which had been provided by 1980s action movies. Lo, and through the grace of luck did his eyes come to rest on the mud below him. He had only seconds to enact his plan. He quickly covered himself in cold, fresh mud, wallowing like a demon-possessed pig, until he was covered from head to toe in the same color as the path. The two lines were now easily within range to see him, so JC gathered his things, piled them underneath his robed body, and closed his eyes, trying to match the behavior and general appearance of a muddy patch of ground. He didn't know if dinosaurs had thermal imaging, but it was a chance worth taking. He grimaced as he tried to will his muscles to stay virtually still. He had to sneeze and fought the impulse until he felt his eyes leak 2 tiny tears. The salt and mud mixture stung at the corners. Now that he was face down on the path itself, the humming he'd noticed earlier seemed even louder and more persistent. With shock, he realized that the humming was coming from underneath the path itself. Then he felt the presence of the dinosaurs and gritted his teeth. The hair on the back of his neck stood up as the creatures passed over him. Somehow, they were still floating, and he winced as he imagined one of them crashing down to the ground with his fragile human form underneath. The bottoms of their feet and tails came within mere inches of the back of his head, and he could feel the wind of the appendages sweeping back and forth just over his skull. The blood pounding in his ears did not quite obfuscate the sound from above. The dinosaurs, each in turn hovering overhead, could be heard to making the same humming as that from beneath the road. JC was the meat in a sonic sandwich. Every nerve ending was on high alert. The sensation of the thunder lizards just inches from discovering his prone form was making his head buzz. The humming was incessant. It felt endless. There must have been dozens of the creatures. JC concentrated on keeping from shivering, the cold mud having soaked through his robes. It felt like icy daggers dragged across the surface of his skin. The humming lowered in volume as the lines receded in the directions opposite from which he came. He was almost in the clear. But then his ears registered one of the dinosaurs cease its droning hum. One huge clawed foot settled down into the dirt, only a handbreadth from JC's head, followed by the other next to the first. The weight of the thing actually shook the ground, and JC swallowed silently to keep himself from choking with alarm. A tiny spurt of fear pee soiled JC's robe even further. Another annoying thing about being mortal he'd almost forgotten about. The behemoth was just standing there, right above him. He felt it looking at him, staring holes through the back of his head with beady, angry eyes. Moving only a millimeter at a time, he slowly opened one eye and craned his neck around. He couldn't reach his weapon, which was pinned underneath him, without flipping over, the motion of which would surely alert the beast, if he wasn't already aware of his presence. He pictured himself stomped into the mud, held down under a 50-ton weight until he suffocated in filth, his lungs buried inside him. The creature suddenly shifted, digging a furrow directly in front of JC's nose with one of its talons. He prepared himself for the worst. The creature was straddling him, large enough to comfortably stand with its feet on either side of his mud hole. He was staring directly into dinosaur crotch. Nietzsche said, or would say when he was eventually born and did things, assuming this timeline stayed intact, that if thou gaze long enough into an abyss, the abyss will also gaze into thee. Some other armchair philosopher would later add that if you stare into the void and it blinks first, you win. But the prize is insanity. Similarly, JC found that if you stare into the crotch of a dinosaur and it opens its cloaca, not only does it feel like your soul is being stared into, but it also makes you want to die a little. The gooey orifice swelled and transformed as it opened, like a portal to a hell filled with alien genitals. The creature pushed, and a slime-covered oval began to crown, teasing its way out of the hole and getting stuck just a little too large to comfortably escape from the now red-ringed, stretching vent. The creature grunted and the egg pushed out a little further, a dome of white with red splotches only a few feet above JC's face. There was nowhere to go. With a final groan, the cloaca swelled and released, dropping the egg straight down. JC got his hands up just in time to catch the huge sphere. The force of its landing sprayed albumin and blood into his mouth and eyes, and he grimaced, tasting prehistoric fluids. He shifted, trying to get into a relaxed position as the monster took a massive step backward, and he felt the shadows disappear from his face. He tried to think mud puddle thoughts as the huge dinosaur leaned down and inspected the egg. Hot air shot from the beast's nostrils as it snorted and sniffed around the egg, which was now sitting upright in JC's muddy hands. After a moment, the dinosaur reached down and picked up the egg with its claws, holding it up to the light. It nodded, apparently satisfied. As JC watched, the dinosaur leaned forward and revealed a strange cube of plant matter, which was apparently attached to its back, almost like a knapsack. It manipulated the top of the cube with its claws and deftly placed the egg inside a small slit in the top, then reattached the cube and grinned with razor-sharp fangs. It moved as if to leave and follow the rapidly departing line of fellow dinosaurs. JC froze as one of the giant feet hovered over his body, waiting for the crushing to begin. But to his relief, the creature began to hum loudly once more. And as soon as it did, its entire body floated upward until it came to hover a few feet off the path. Then it took off rapidly in the direction it had been going before. JC could finally breathe normally again, and he spit and coughed while wiping his face with his sleeves. This did little but spread the mud and goop around. This was ridiculous. Fighting to survive was hard enough without being ill-prepared. He closed his eyes tight and summoned some clean clothes, including a brand new set of lightly armored studded leather robes and some combat sandals. It was time to work a few miracles. JC raised his arms to the sky and muttered in ancient Aramaic. Clouds gathered and formed thunderheads, and within seconds, the first drops began to fall. JC stripped off his filthy, torn robe and danced naked on the path, allowing the cool water to wash over him. It took a lot of Jesus juice to make the sky fall, but it felt like heaven. When he was finally finished with his impromptu shower, he called up a hot southern wind, which blow-dried his hair and beard. As he suited up, his thoughts smoldered. If these dinosaurs were going to attack him, bite him, shit eggs on his face, and who knows what else, then it was time to take the fight to them. He'd either find a way to get them all to nail him to a cross or murder the whole animal kingdom trying. There were few options, so he ran off in the direction the egg layer had gone. He could still see it hovering along the path. How the hell was it doing that? It had no wings, no visible means of propulsion, just that weird sound, a sound that was still coming from somewhere beneath him. The path turned slightly and curved around the base of the volcano, climbing a small rocky hill. JC crested the hill, his gun pointed in front of him like a divining rod. If there was another pack of carnivorous beasts ready to give him trouble, he'd give it right back with violent force. His jaw dropped. Up ahead, the jungle faded, and the land opened up into a vast plain, the volcano above, overlooking it like a protector. The crude dirt path followed the tree line only to the bottom of the hill, where a grid of roads, topped with some kind of beautiful cerulean blue material, extended into the distance. Sunlight streamed down, illuminating a massive golden city. Everything was connected with cables and wires of blue and gold. Huge towers bloomed up from the middle of the city, leaving way for smaller buildings with stunningly detailed minarets and circular decorations. The design was such that sunlight blossomed everywhere with holes and cutouts in many of the solid structures to allow natural sunlight to pass through. In the middle of the skyline was a massive golden cylinder, topped with a gargantuan blue gemstone. As JC looked on in awe, the sapphire stone that served as a centerpiece to this alien landscape abruptly lit up with a radiant light. The incredible beauty of the glowing gem momentarily made JC forget the danger he was in, and it pulsed, illuminating the golden spires surrounding it. Hundreds, maybe thousands of different dinosaurs floated in every direction on the paths of the grid. At intersections where he would expect crashes and battles between dinosaurs, somehow there was peace and tranquility, with each row of hovering creatures seamlessly threading and merging together without incident. Many of them raised their heads as the light in the middle of the city glowed. A terror of tyrannosaurs broke ranks and drifted down the dirt road. Finally able to leave the path, JC dove behind a large outcropping of rocks and waited for the trio to close distance. There were 2 large adults and 1 smaller one, all floating along like it was completely within their rights to violate laws of gravity. As they approached, JC noticed the largest of the 3 had some kind of cylinders positioned over its eyes, made of the same blue glass-like substance he saw in the tubes and the wires running this way and that throughout the city. All 3 were humming. A massive orange flash lit up the sky. The dinosaurs all turned their heads as JC clung to the rock and glanced at the skyline to see what was happening. The shock wave hit only a moment later, and then mayhem. Dozens of the floating dinosaurs crashed down to the ground. A chorus of roars and screeches sung to the sky. A cloud of smoke and fire erupted from somewhere near the middle, where the taller buildings stood, and one of the spires crumbled and fell. Blue sparks shot out from where the cables attached to it had been severed, visible even from this distance as a menacing glow. All 3 nearby tyrannosaurs roared with surprise and fell to the ground as a trio of earth-shattering thuds. As the larger of 2 dinosaurs checked on the smallest one, helping get off its back, JC used the commotion to slip down the path, unnoticed, leaping from rock to tree to culvert, until he was right next to the grid. The roads were quickly clearing as the giant animals began to panic and run. Fire and smoke from an explosion meant some form of civilization, and since the dinosaurs were running away from the blast, JC figured his best chance was to run toward it. He would seek out the source of this madness. Anything that could harness the power of fire could theoretically use tools. He scurried into the heart of the strange golden city, seeking a purifying flame, which was the closest thing to a beacon of hope that he had left.
That was pretty badass, man.
Wow,
So
wow,
I
wow,
have
wow,
some
wow, wow.
complaints I
Wow, wow,
saw
wow.
in the chat. Someone said that this seemed unrealistic.
Unrealistic?
What do you have to say about that?
I will tell you right now, this is absolute nonfiction, 100% nonfiction.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, this all actually happened. So I don't know. I mean, if history is unrealistic, thank you,
dude.
Monica. I'm glad you believe.
Don't read the chat. Look at me.
Oh, okay, Max. Go ahead.
So what type of research did you do on this book? Like, did you go and fight some dinosaurs? Or what?
Yeah, time travel mostly.
I've asked you this question many times in the past, but if you could fight any dinosaur, which one would it be?
Oh my God. Okay, in a fight, I would have to go with a Compsognathus because they're small. They're like chicken sized.
Yeah.
And as long as there's only one of them, I feel like I can probably take them.
Have you?
You get a bunch of them, like get as many compies as it takes to make up the weight of like a T-Rex, then I'm screwed.
No, you said chicken size. So have you fought a chicken in the past?
I mean, yeah. Who hasn't fought a chicken?
Do you know what chickens do though? They do lay eggs.
That's
true. That reminds me of a tweet I read.
Chickens will fuck you up, man.
Yeah, they're pretty badass. I mean, poultry is. I'm not saying I'm coming unarmed to this fight either, man. Like my grandma used to carry this big stick around with a leather strap on it. She called it
Your
the
best
bite.
bet is bring a chicken.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, grandma called this thing the Beitsch, which is German for something, but it sounds kind of like bitch. But she'd carry this thing around because those roosters, they will fuck you up, man.
I think Cody's onto something. If you want to fight a chicken, bring a chicken.
Bring another chicken. Yeah.
Chicken versus chicken. I've seen at least 2 pornographic movies called that.
Don't bring a knife to a chicken fight.
That was just calling a giant cock to a chicken fight. That's what you're watching.
Always bring a giant cock to a chicken fight. That much is true.
I don't get that.
I'll explain it to you when you're older.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I do have many.
It mostly involves a giant cock being bitten by chickens a lot. It's not as erotic as you'd think.
I can't believe God came on to this Zoom call.
Yeah, he's a fan.
That's pretty cool. I'm glad. Yeah. So fuck, that was the event, huh?
Sure was.
What happens next?
I think everyone has to go buy the book, like legally speaking.
Yeah, the book is called Jurassic Christ. Hold it up, Michael. I have you pinned.
Pretty sure you're not allowed. I'm pretty sure you're incapable of even logging off until you bought the book.
Yeah,
I think you're stuck.
And I up top, I promised some awful prizes for those who took notes of things. So I don't think any. Did anyone do that? Did anyone take notes of egg notes?
I'd say anybody who can do a good job explaining what they think the contest was probably deserves something.
I'm not gonna win.
So okay,
I took notes of the meeting, and I'm going to email them out to everyone by Monday afternoon. I've taken full
just
notes
say eggs.
of what everyone has said.
I'm glad somebody's taking minutes.
I just continue eating 3 eggs a day, then do I win just like normal like shit?
Yeah. I think if anyone like sends us a photo of them eating 3 eggs at once, they
at once, no, but like
at once. Why is that so confusing?
Times where I'm like, I drank too much, I'm gonna eat 3 eggs like immediately because that'll help.
It takes 3
doesn't,
eggs.
by the way, it doesn't.
Make a dinosaur. Tell you what, folks, if you bought Jurassic Christ, if you have proof, email it to pmpublishing@gmail.com, and I'll send you something in my house. I don't know what. I'll send you some stuff.
Send me Lori.
Okay. There's only one of those, so that's been taken. Everything else is up for grabs.
Oh, and watch my social media space, because like people who like do like reviews and stuff, like I'm not like, you know, trading good review. No, of course I want your honest reviews, but I'm like the first few people who review it or something. If you want like a sticker or something, I've got shit. So like, you know, you guys know, most of you are authors too. You know how much reviews matter.
Yeah. And I should say, like, if you want to make some extra cash and you have a Amazon review page, hit me up.
He's not above bribery.
I think that about concludes the event. However, there's like one little thing I did want to bring up before we end, if that's cool with you guys.
Real quick, Max, you'll look more like God than God. I'm just going to give you a clap reaction for looking better than Jesus.
Wow.
Well, thank you.
God's got a Michelangelo fresco of Max on the ceiling in his bathroom.
You have reinvented the image of God, Max Booth.
So anybody who buys Jurassic Christ, send me proof, and I will send you a photo of me that you can hang in the bathroom.
Now you proved a miracle when you could read direct messages with those fucking fake glasses on.
It is difficult. I have not chosen anything from my desk. Yeah. All right. I was going to read that tweet again, but I keep getting stopped. I think God himself.
For the love of God. For the love of you,
I was gonna say,
fucking stop.
So for every 2 minutes where you don't buy Jurassic Christ, Max is going to read that tweet.
I'm going to mail you a printout.
Oh my God.
Do you have any idea how much I have to hear him say, I can hold 3 around the house all the time? Do you have any idea?
One more time, rock.com is coming back into existence.
Oh, yes. So thank you, Jessica. We have bought rotten.com.
What?
Bringing it back. It's all going to be egg centric. So just a bunch of egg jokes.
Just
and egg
eggs,
photos,
eggs,
yolks, if you want to call it that.
Go to hell.
Well, I support that entirely. It's so weird.
Thank you. I'll send you the Patreon link.
Oh man, I just realized I forgot. I was totally going to switch to a jungle background for my reading.
God damn it. Let's do the event again.
Here, you know what? No, it's okay. Here, I'll just.
Whatever.
We have to do it all over again.
Just pretend that you saw it.
Now you have to read your whole thing all over again.
I love that there's 30 people in the audience just listening to us be jackasses. That makes me very happy.
Why hasn't anybody left?
I can't possibly say post-apocalyptic mates any more times.
We can't leave until you do. We are trapped here.
I will say that every time I've ever hosted or put together like a Bizarro reading, that's kind of what the audience does too. They just hang out afterward because, you know, jackassery is fun to watch.
Yeah.
And come on, we're all either drunk or high right now anyway, right?
I mean, up until now, the event was completely scripted, so now I'm off the books.
Uh-oh. Now we have to improvise.
Oh, no.
I have done about 12 hours worth of cocaine, so keep going. Just keep going. I am that awake.
We'll stay here to entertain God.
I have had that much cocaine. I have literally pieced it out to 12 hours from now.
Good.
See you all at 7 in the
God.
morning.
All right.
Well, all right. We'll all meet back here. We'll all meet back here at 7 in the morning.
Exactly. When I've come down and then have to be a legitimate adult.
Okay.
No, if we all do cocaine with him, maybe we can write Jurassic Christ 2 together in that 7 hours.
There we go.
Ooh.
That's a crime.
The book came out this weekend, and we're ready to write the sequel, baby.
Bye, Rose.
Well, that's how Michael Crichton works. So it's kind of the same thing.
That's true.
All right. It's now 7 p.m. CST. That means I have to end this. That's the rule. Goodbye, Jurassic Christ. Goodbye, all the books. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
John. Thank you, Andrew.
You look better than God.
Ryan. Thank you, Dangel Slater. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Cody. Thank you, Michael. Thank you to the 3 eggs I put in my mouth.
Hey, Jesus died for our sins, and we must worship him.
I'm so happy that Max has proven that he can hold 3 eggs inside him.